Welcome to the Fifth Minute, the moment between who you are and who you are becoming. I'm your keeper, your future self, and we need to talk about your narrative. Your brain is always trying to make sense of the world around you. It takes the things that happen to you, and it creates a story about what those things mean. Because your brain does not just remember events, it remembers the meaning you attach to them, and sometimes that meaning becomes the thing that keeps you trapped. Imagine someone who grows up experiencing rejection. Maybe they were ignored, maybe they were abandoned, maybe they spent years feeling like they were never chosen, and slowly, a story begins to form. Nobody wants me. At first, it feels like an explanation, a way to understand the pain, but eventually, that story starts making decisions for them. If nobody wants me, then why risk getting close? If everyone leaves, then why trust anyone? If I'm not enough, then why even try? So they begin protecting themselves. They avoid vulnerability. They push people away before they can be hurt. They stop believing compliments. They assume kindness always has an expiration date. And then something strange happens. The person looks at their life and says, "See, I was right." But the truth is, the story created the evidence it was looking for, because the stories we believe change the choices we make. And the choices we make shape the life we experience. The story you believe becomes the lens you see through, and if you look through a lens that only shows you rejection, you will miss the moments where someone is trying to stay. If you look through a lens that only shows you failure, you will miss the moments where you are growing. The narrator inside your mind is always searching for proof, but remember, a story can feel true without being the whole truth. Due to imagine something, two people standing in the exact same place, carrying the exact same past, the same childhood, the same wounds, the same moments where they felt unseen, the same rejection, the same pain, but somehow they create two completely different futures. How? Because the past did not change, the meaning did. The first person tells themselves a story. I was unwanted, and that story follows them. It whispers, do not get too close. People always leave. Protect yourself before someone hurts you again. So they build walls, they avoid connection, they mistake distance for safety, and every time someone gets close, they prepare for the moment they leave, not because they do not want love, but because their story taught them not to expect it. Their pain became their prediction. Now, imagine that same person, with the same history, choosing a different narrator. The story changes. I survived something painful, and because I know what that pain feels like, I know how much kindness matters. I know what it means to make someone feel seen. The past is still there, the scars are still there, the memories are still there, but they no longer tell the person who they have to become. Now, they reach out, they build connection, they recognize suffering in others, they choose compassion instead of fear. The storm was the same, but the person who walked through it became different, and that is the part we forget. Your past is a chapter, not the entire book. The things that happened to you matter, they shaped you, they left marks, but the meaning you carry from those moments is what helps write the pages that come next. Because two people can experience the same storm, and one can spend their life running from the rain, while the other learns how to dance in it. One sees the storm as proof that life will always hurt them. The other sees the storm as proof that they can survive what comes. The storm was never the thing that decided their future. The story they told themselves about the storm was, and that is where your power begins. Not by pretending the storm never happened, not by forcing yourself to forget the rain, but by deciding what the storm means. Because you are not just the person who remembers what happened. You are also the person who decides what happens next, and every day, the fifth minute arrives, a moment where you choose which story gets another page, the old story, or the story of the person you are becoming. There is something important we need to understand. The old story inside your mind is not your enemy. It did not appear because you were weak. It appeared because some part of you was trying to survive. Every belief you carry, every wall you built, every way you learned to protect yourself came from somewhere. There was a reason. I don't trust anyone. Maybe once that belief kept you safe. Maybe trusting someone meant getting hurt. Maybe opening up meant being rejected. So your mind created a rule. Do not let anyone close, because distance feels safer than pain. I don't try because I always fail. Maybe once that belief protected you from disappointment, because if you never try, you never have to feel the weight of failing again. I don't need anyone. Maybe once that belief protected you from being abandoned, because if you convince yourself you need no one, then losing someone cannot hurt as much. These stories were not created to destroy you. They were created to protect you. They were armor, built during a battle you were trying to survive. Armor has a purpose. It protects you during the fight, but you were not meant to wear it forever. Same walls that kept the pain out can sometimes keep the love out too. The same fear that helped you survive yesterday can sometimes stop you from living tomorrow. And this is the lesson. The keeper does not ask you to hate the person you were. The keeper does not ask you to be ashamed of the ways you survived, because those parts of you were trying to help. They carried you here, but now you have arrived somewhere new. And the question is not, why was I like that? The question is, do I still need that story to protect me? Because a story can protect you from a pain you already survived, but still prevent you from reaching a future you deserve. And healing is not destroying the old story. It is thanking it, then choosing what story comes next. This is where everything changes, because understanding your story is only the beginning. The reason your story matters is because stories create decisions, and decisions create lives. The voice inside your mind, the narrator, will always have something to say, every day. There is a moment where the old story appears. It whispers, "You always quit. You are not that kind of person. You will probably fail anyway. Start tomorrow." It does not matter, and for a long time, we believe that voice because it sounds familiar, because it sounds like us. But familiar does not always mean true. And then comes the 5th minute, not because 5 minutes is magical, not because change happens at exactly 5 minutes, but because every single day, there is a moment where you are given a choice, a moment where you decide, am I going to continue the story I inherited, or am I going to write the story I am becoming? That moment can be incredibly small. The old story says, I am lazy. The 5th minute says, drink the water, take the walk, open the book, make the call, keep the promise. The action may seem small, but something much bigger is happening. You are creating evidence. Evidence that the old story is no longer the only story, because every time you choose differently, you teach yourself something new. I am someone who shows up. I am someone who tries again. I am someone who keeps promises. The future version of you is built from these moments, not the huge moments where everything changes overnight, but the tiny moments where you prove to yourself that change is possible. Every choice is evidence. Every action is a vote for the person you are becoming, and that is why the 5th minute matters. It is not about becoming a completely different person in one day. It is about giving yourself one piece of proof, one small promise kept, one decision that says, the old story may explain where I came from, but it does not decide where I go, because every day, you get another page, and every 5th minute, you get another chance to write it. There is one final thing we need to understand. Choosing a new story does not mean pretending the old one never happened. The keeper will never ask you to lie to yourself, because healing is not built on pretending. It is built on truth, a fuller truth, not everything was fine, because sometimes it was not fine. Sometimes you were hurt, sometimes you were lost, sometimes things happened that changed you, but the truth does not end there. The fuller truth is, everything happened, and it does not have to own the ending. Not, I was never hurt, but I was hurt, and I healed. Not, I never failed, but I failed, and I learned. Not, nothing bad happened, but something bad happened, and I survived it. The difference is small, but it changes everything, because one story keeps you trapped in the moment that hurt you, and the other reminds you that you are the person who made it through. Healing is not rewriting history, it is rewriting the meaning you carry from it. You are not changing what happened, you are changing what happens next, and that is where you become the author. If you have walked with me through these first chapters, then you know something important. You are not your history, you are not your pain, you are not the worst thing that happened to you. You are the person deciding what happens next. Your past may have written the opening pages, but you, still holding the pen. Every future begins as a story. Every story becomes a decision. Every decision becomes a habit. Every habit becomes a life. So choose your narrator carefully. Not because your past was not real, not because your pain did not matter, but because your future has not happened yet. And tomorrow will be shaped by the choices you make today. When the 5th minute arrives, when the old story asks you to repeat what you already know, pause. And ask yourself, which story am I about to give evidence to? The story that says I cannot change, or the story of the person I am becoming? Because every small promise kept is another sentence written. Every choice made with intention is another page turned, and slowly, moment by moment, decision by decision, you become someone new, not because you erased who you were, but because you finally understood who you could become, because here, we do not negotiate, we keep promises, and I'll meet you on the 5th minute.